Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unofficial Cricket Show. I'm your host, Vivek Nanda, and today we are going to talk about the India Australia series, match number 3, T20, which concluded by India winning the series 2-1. Australia scored 186 for 7, and then India chased the total with a ball to spare. Let's start with the Australian innings first. So Cameron Green scored 52 of 21 balls. And second major contribution came from Tim David, who scored 54 of 27 balls. So let's talk about Cameron Green's inning. Cameron Green is, I think, a reserve player for Australia for the T20 World Cup. And he has been sent twice to open the innings. In fact, I think all 3 times. But 2 times he has really tonked the Indian bowlers all over the park. He is tall, he's powerful, he has so much reach, he's hitting the ball hard, and amazing batting. He has certainly impressed. He kind of reminds me of a right-hander version of Matthew Hayden, like the same build. Like, of course, Matthew Hayden is probably bigger than Cameron Green, but Cameron Green is also very tall, and both of them have a great reach. And when the ball is in their zone, they are putting everything into it and just sending it across the park. So really impressed by Cameron Green. Tim David did score a half century in the third T20. He scored 54 of 27 balls, but I've only seen him perform in one of the matches out of the 3 that he played. So obviously, good debut for him, but certainly, Cameron Green looked far more impressive with his all-round show, which makes a stronger case to play in the T20 Australian squad. Now coming down to Steve Smith. Steve Smith scored 9 runs. A lot of people have speculated that his position in T20 squad is a maybe. And to be honest, looking at this Australian team and the talent that's missing this series right now, he might actually come in. I actually don't see him in the team. So it will be really interesting what happens in the World Cup. But for me, Steve Smith, probably not part of Australian T20's team. I don't see him, really. On the other hand, Daniel Sams, who's their bowler, and he also scored 28 of 20 balls. And I was actually impressed with his batting too. He looked more of an all-rounder, to be honest. Like, I feel like he's not like the Hardik Pandya category of all-rounders, but he certainly is a bowler who can bat. And his bowling was also really good in the match when he later on bowled in the Indian innings. So also very impressed by Daniel Sams. He did a great job. Overall, Australia managed to get 186 for 7. They had a flyer start with Cameron Green going after the Indian bowling. Indian bowling pacers still struggling a lot. Bumrah in his second game after the comeback took a pounding, 50 runs off his 4 overs, and Booby is still struggling in death overs. Overall, Indian pacers struggled really, and the spinners came to the party as they have been doing for the last few games. Axar and Chahal both bowled well. Axar ended up with 3 for 33 from his 4 overs, and Chahal 1 for 24 from his 4 overs. After the first 10 overs, Australia was cruising, and then Axar and Chahal really bowling in tandem the spin, and that's what really put the brakes on the Australian scoring rate. Of course, Australia lost wickets in a lot of succession during the period after the power play to like 15 overs. They were constantly losing wickets. In the end, it seemed like Axar Patel has been doing a great job in picking up wicket. He is also good in containing the runs. And overall, in the series, Axar ended up being the player of the series. I think Axar picked 8 wickets in these 3 matches and was the highest wicket taker for the series. And respectfully was offered the man of the series award. On the Indian batting side, it was KL Rahul again missing out. It's kind of he came to open the batting with Rohit Sharma. Now, for India, the question is, would they still go ahead with the same opening pair of KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, even though KL missed out in this game? But I think in the previous game he scored good runs, which was the shorter game, and that's still a slot which he hasn't been as consistent since his comeback after his injury. But it's only been I would say like 1 or 2 series for him, so hopefully he'll be better prepared for the World Cup. And now that India will play South Africa before they play the World Cup warm-up matches in Australia. So yeah, King Kohli came to the party again. Virat Kohli scored 63 of 48 balls. Some really good shots. He looked in good touch. He looked in great confidence. He looked calm, centered, focused on his batting. There were a couple of instances where he misjudged the ball and played it in the air or missed the ball. But overall, his inning was solid. He is also in the last over's first ball. He took on Daniel Sams for a 6, which was amazing because I think India needed almost like 11 runs or 10 runs in the last over, 10, 11 runs. And Kohli came in the first ball of the 20th over. Daniel Sams bowling to him, he just smashed him out of the park. And very next ball he got out, but it looked like right from the middle of the bat again, and Finch taking a catch. So overall, King Kohli looking strong, 2 strong innings in the series, and especially this one, 63 of 48, really good knock. Sky, Suryakumar Yadav, he is certainly the talk of the town for Indian team, especially for his strike rate, the way he's playing the game, T20. Sky is a very special player. He scored 69 of 36 balls, 5 sixes, 5 fours. And if you look at his innings, it felt like all shots were almost to perfection. They were in the gaps. Even if they were in the air, they were over the fielders. And he could play all across, all around the park, which was great. He ended up with 69 of 36 balls. He is looking a great prospect for India. He certainly needs to be more consistent, but at the moment, he is India's leading T20 batsman, highest run scorer for this calendar year, 2022. So he is certainly looking great to come at number 4 for India, and he continues to pump 6s and 4s at will, which is amazing. 5 6s, 5 4s for Sky. Amazing showdown. He was actually player of the match for his solid innings. And then, as usual, Hardik Pandya finished the game for India with 25 of 16 balls. And Hardik also hit one crucial 6 on Hazelwood's first ball of the 19th over. Just manages to get it past the line. Which is kind of an interesting point. In Australia, the grounds are going to be bigger, big grounds. So now the question will be shot like how Hardik played and went for 6 from Hazelwood in the 19th over. I don't think realistically those shots will cross the line in Australia. So is another factors that subcontinent teams really need to take care and think about, especially the bigger grounds in Australia. So I always think that most of the subcontinent grounds are really not as big as they are in Australia. So and you build your hitting and team around practicing in these grounds. So I am really curious how that changes when you go to Australia where the grounds are bigger. Would you take the same level of risk as a player? So that would be interesting to see. And this also applies to like basically not just India, but also Pakistan or Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, all these teams to see how they play their matches in bigger grounds, especially, of course, running between the wickets becomes so important. But you probably see more sixes hit in the Indian subcontinent versus you probably see it in Australia. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So let's see how these teams will prepare. Overall, it's a 2-1 victory for Team India, and some amazing performances across the board from Indian team. Indian team is probably looking far more happier after these three games, just because they got KL, Rohit, Virat, Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik, all of them hitting runs in this three-match series after a poor show at the Asia Cup, which was kind of a big exit for India from the Asia Cup. Concern for India still remains the pace attack. This is going to be really interesting. Bhuvneshwar, Bumrah, and Harshal Patel still struggling with consistency. Bhuvi has probably performed, I would say, like in one match that was versus Afghanistan, where he took a fifer. But other than that, he's bowling in last six matches. He hasn't picked, a lot of wickets, and he's going for plenty of runs. He's certainly going like 12, 13 economy, which kind of sucks. But he needs to get back in form before the World Cup. He still has India South Africa series, so hopefully that will help. But at the moment, India's big problem still, as always, has remained its base bowling attack. And in Australia, this will only going to, I would say, the problem will be increasing, if not remaining same. So we'll see how that goes. But next up, India is playing South Africa, and then after that, India flies for warm-up games to Australia for the T20 World Cup. I do want to talk about Matthew Wade. He looks in great touch throughout the series. He, of course, couldn't score much. Got on one cotton ball to Axar Patel. But he has been in supreme touch, and he's been playing some really great innings for Australia for the past, I would say, like for past couple of years now. He is doing great, and he is a very critical part for Australia's World Cup success. I really think that he comes deep down as such a strong finisher, and anytime he got an opportunity to play 4 or 5 overs, he's really been destructive to the side, and really experienced campaigner for hitting the ball out of the park. He's a powerful short man. Let's say that he has strong arms, and he has shown it that what he can do, both to Pakistan in the bilateral series, or earlier versus Australia. He played really well back then, and now versus India here in the first two matches. He was in the first match, actually, he was really good. So yeah, Matthew Wade, great prospect for Australia, and some good selection opportunities for young people. Tim David, Cameron Green, certainly my vote goes to him. He is playing so well. Aaron Finch, he He's like Sehwag for Australia. That's how I look at him. He plays in a similar fashion. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But most of the time, or let's say half of the time, it works. And when it works, the team wins. So that's kind of what it is. And Glenn Maxwell hasn't come to a party yet, but he is a very important cricketer. He did actually saved a couple of boundaries in India's game where he was like almost jumping across the line and saving a six and a four in the last few overs. So overall, the series was better than expected. Great entertainment for the fans. Of course, nobody liked the 8 over game in the sense that it was only 8 overs. So you always think as a fan, it was good entertainment, but from teams, both teams practice wise, is 8 over side a real game? Right, like that's very rare. It might not happen. It becomes more of a tactical game. So, but in any case, it's a real match practice, and that's how teams should look at it. It's a fantastic, game of cricket, and India won that game, both also scoring at 10 and over runs target. So interesting game. Fantastic series and a lot of tight matches. Great competition by India and Australia. Now on to the World Cup for both the teams.